Right. Bring noise! Eyo! Fuck you, bugs. Eldritch is a game that, to quote the deliciously dark Eva Green in Showtime's Penny Dreadful, is filled with hidden depths. It's a game that harkens back to the older days of roguelikes, and shares the similar design choices you would expect: permanent death, hardship, and adversaries that are not easily toppled. The mounting frustration too. The grind of having to essentially restart the game upon death can become tedious, and a real slog to get through. So why is it I find myself more often than not thinking, I might go on Eldritch today. The storyline is what you'd expect of a game based on H.P. Lovecraft's seminal mythology that he explored via his writings in the 1920s, and by numerous other authors since, such as Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman, which deals with cosmicism, or, to everyone else, how there are beings in the universe that simply can't be explained via rational law, and to them we're merely a fleck of dust on an ant. Figuratively, of course. In terms of actual gameplay, you play an amnesia-stricken man or woman, with some very limited character customization features on the game, who wakes up amongst stacks of books in a library of some forgotten name, with 4 books in the centre, upon daises, that all have an ethereal glow to them. These form the worlds of the game, and are where the meat of the action takes place. These worlds correspond to the 3 elder gods, such as Dagon and Cthulhu, and a special world based on the seminal story at the Mountains of Madness. Seriously, where the hell's Guillermo del Toro's movie already? Which leads to another ending if you can complete his horribly difficult 10-level challenge, which I can't. It's too hard, penguins. The overall goal of these 3 worlds share, however, is to get in, grab a boss or a key item, and then get out. They all share that core gameplay element too, which is the traversal of 3 multi-tiered levels, 10 for the Mountains of Madness. These are all procedurally generated, with levels seemingly having no consistency in terms of architecture or logic. It's not jarring though, and more than lives up to the title Eldritch, really. Weapons, gear and upgrades and spells can all be found dotted around the levels too, with a shop and bank there too, so you can store your hard-won artifacts, the currency that both allows you to buy gear and food as well as power spells, and spend them on items that in some cases wouldn't even spawn naturally in the level. The enemies of the game are also all from the mythos, from repugnant fishmen and cultists wrapped in grim robes, to mummies and the unkillable shoggoths. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Whilst the first level can, and after a few goes, is kind of rudimentary, the following levels are astoundingly difficult, and indeed, this difficulty spike can be troublesome at first. Little bit. Players of Dark Souls and The Binding of Isaac will get a real kick out of Eldritch though. Combat is clicky stuff with things such as knives, guns and dynamites, but is adequate. Stealth mechanics work well, and almost feel reminiscent of Amnesia, or other sneak-em-ups. Is that a thing, sneak-em-ups? It should be. It's a shame that the game's voxel, pixel-based graphics have the adverse effect of even making the most fearsome of enemies, like the monstrous Shoggoth, look like a mod for Minecraft, which is what this sometimes gets compared to, and unfairly. The musical scores and Foley work is where most of the real horror comes from, with some of the sounds that the creatures make, echoing off walls and projected into snowy caves, genuinely unsettling. Often I would feel safe, only to be greeted by the god-awful sound of something that, if I saw in real life, would probably drive me mad. The real draw of Eldritch isn't in its combat, or its traversal elements, or the unsettling score. It's the way and the fact that it allows you to be drawn into this world, admittedly in a kind of glancing and not in-depth way, and kind of get a feel for what Lovecraftian horror should be. There's been a resurgence of interest on Lovecraft and his writings these days, and if you're the kind of person who goes, "Well, I don't get it," then Eldritch is a great way to get some knowledge on the subject. Overall then, Eldritch is a game that is fun, frustrating, and great at capturing the essence of what Lovecraft is, but is mired by graphical work that could turn some people off, so to speak, and a difficulty spire that could cause anyone but the most tentacly of folk to stop and not really give the game a chance to shine. I was going to give the game a 6 or a 6.5, even though I find scores kind of insulting in the first place. But, as I said earlier, I can't put the damn thing away. It's fun, addictive, and a great roguelike that uses the conventions of the genre to illustrate a turning point in horror writing and sci-fi writing in general.